say in February 1952, there was always something before that moment that needed to be explained. And that something led to another perplexity that had preceded the one that I was trying to understand. So that I kept being pushed backward in time when I was trying to go forward. The boxes of documents crumpled. The book piles toppled. The post-it notes that fringed them turned pale in the sun. What I knew was getting old. Because I didn't want to go around forever with this mass of silently rotting knowledge in my head, I got the idea of writing a somewhat different, although related, book. One about life under the Freedom of Information Act, using my own unfinished quest for Cold War truth as a point of departure. After several false starts, in March 2019, I abandoned chronological succession and just wrote every day about what I knew and didn't know, and what I needed to know, concerning a now remote but still crucially important stretch of American history. The result is a sort of case history or diary or daily meditation on the pathology of government secrecy. This is a book about waiting for responses from the Air Force and the Central Intelligence Agency and other places. It's about my own not entirely successful efforts to squeeze germs of truth from the sanitized documentary record of the U.S. government. It's about the exquisite pain of whited out or blacked out sentences and paragraphs, always the ones you want most to see, and the costs to national self-understanding of delayed disclosure. It's about the frustration of knowing that a document exists just steps away on the other side of a wall in the National Archives, and yet you can't see it because it's supposedly so sensitive that its release would rend the flaggy fabric of national security. It's about the tick of time going by as old secrets snicker in their file boxes. The seeming uselessness and toothlessness of the Freedom of Information Act. The redactions, that awful word. The blotted out key phrase in a paragraph that turns it from something with meaning to something that means nothing. The back and forth of politely exasperated correspondence. Since it's a diary, I've allowed into this book some of what traditional histories leave out. The writer's daily chair-bound scene, the flummoxing overload of specificity, dreams, the weather, dogs, food. I've written about the work of some of the lawyers and journalists and assorted unsung heroes who have devoted their lives to hunting and gathering and forcing disclosures in governmental repositories. And I've included much of the germ war story, too, because I can't not include it. America's disease-dispersing bio-bureaucracy is what I've been studying on and off for a decade, and by now I've reached certain conclusions, despite the incompleteness of the paper record. Every so often, as you'll see, I submit a new Freedom of Information Act request, or a new mandatory declassification review request, and explain why it might be helpful to be able to read a certain document. Whether or not you agree with my account of what happened, I'm hoping that you will be shocked and revolted, and sometimes inspired, by some of the activities I describe in this book. I hope you'll say, no, that's not acceptable. That can't be allowed to happen ever again. Baseless was a long time coming, and I'm relieved to have finally gotten it done. Thank you, Ann Godoff, Sarah Hochman, David Rosenthal, and Melanie Jackson for getting me to write it. Thank you, Casey Dennis and Jane Cavallina, for overseeing publication. And thank you, Guggenheim Foundation, for giving me breathing room. This book is dedicated to my dear family, whom I love beyond treetops, to my wife, Margaret, to my 2 children, Alice and Elias, to my parents, Anne and Douglas, and to my father's partner, Janice, and in memory of Margaret's parents, Robert and Carol Brentano. FOIA. That vowel...